Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. This is the post-fight review for Frazer Clarke versus the disgrace that is Bogdan Dinu. Dinu quits after 2 rounds. It was another vintage Bogdan Dinu performance where he makes it look credible enough and then he decides he's had his fill of punishment and quits. And in this instance, Frazer Clarke through the first 2 rounds had been landing bodywork, and you could see visibly it was starting to take a bit of a toll in round 2. And I actually tweeted that it looks like Dinu has taken his fill of punishment or is close to it and will probably look for a spot on the canvas soon. But he denied me having, and you, some round 3 action, deciding on his stool he'd had enough, and to the referee and his trainer he sort of gestured and he said his ribs. So make of that what you will. Bogdan Dinu after 2 rounds quits. It's another vintage Dinu performance. Make it credible enough, and in this instance he was called up in fight week effectively because of illness to right elbow, so I'm sure he thinks he can get away with not actually having to have put in a full shift there. But, I mean, this mirrors all the other Dinu performances where he's lost, where he gives it a go for about 2 to 4 rounds and ultimately will quit. He's a complete embarrassment, and for Frazer Clarke, it kind of just robs him of a bit of a highlight reel moment. Because from those first 2 rounds, it wasn't a sort of sparkling performance from Clarke. He was just doing a good job, sinking in some good body work. He was moving Dinu around the ring, trying to bail him on the ropes, work the jab, looking for the odd hook, looking for the odd right hand. But it just was what it was. And Dinu's just spoiled it for all involved again because he's a complete clown. People are going to stop using him. Any credit of Dinu being on your record at this point in your career, anyone's career, surely it must be going down and getting devalued by the moment, because it's clear what his plan is. It's kind of like when Richard Lartey started to dive and he kept diving, and then people were like, oh, actually, this is kind of a bit of a joke. Dinu is in some joke territory. He's a complete clown. I hope to not see him again because he's an absolute muppet. For Frazer Clarke, yeah, it was what it was. I would have preferred to have seen the Rydell Booker performance. It's still a little bit of a mystery exactly what happened, but some medical emergency of some description has rendered him not able to have this fight. At least with Booker, even though more likely than not he would have lost, he actually comes with ambition. Maybe he doesn't let his hands go enough, but he will look to counterpunch. He will look to win the fight. He will look to set traps and execute them. Whereas Dinu, who is roughly about the same size as Clarke or a little bit bigger, all he looks to do is make it look, give the illusion of it being competitive and that he's actually doing something, when he's actually coming to lose. He's just coming to collect the check, and that's embarrassing. And unfortunately, there's too many idiots in boxing like that. Clarke, after the fight, thought that he was hurting Bogdan Dinu. He hopes he can get out on May 6th, but he was sort of directed to the cut that appeared on his forehead during the fight, and he said, well, we'll see what happens. I want to get back out on May the 6th. Obviously, that's only about 5 or 6 weeks away. The cut looked a little bit nasty, so we'll see what happens. Ben Shalom, his promoter, said hopefully we can get him out. Clarke referenced Fabio Wardley and says, the people cannot save you. And that's in reference to, and this is something Frazer Clarke seems to have taken to heart, and personally, that a lot of people think that Fabio Wardley is significantly better than him, that Frazer Clarke is not on the same level. And he's really taken umbrage with that. And he says he is at the same level. He wants to face Fabio Wardley. He thinks he can beat him right now. Based on what we've seen against the opponents who he's been in with, Clarke has just been, it's workmanlike, no more, no less. The thing is, he's not really building his name, his profile. He's not getting the highlight reel knockouts, and this fight was another opportunity. He was robbed of that. But even in the performances, you're not looking there and go, this is championship material, this guy's going all the way. It's just solid workmanlike effort. But I would say, from previous fights, he does look like he's in better condition. The weight is still roughly about the same, but physically he's looking in better shape. So that is something, and I think he's responding to some of the criticism that has been in public. Other fighters like Jamie Shakiva have called him out before and said, you're focusing on too many other things, you're not on it in the gym, and it's showing in your performances in the ring. So again, another workmanlike performance, but really what does it do to build his profile? Maybe Fabio Wardley, that sort of fight is, a few fights away potentially. We'll have to see. But it's a shame that he wasn't given a bit more testing in this one by Bogdan Dinu. But with Dinu what you're going to get. He's going to make it look credible for a little while, and then he'll take his fill of punishment and decide to quit. And that's exactly how the script played out. And it's embarrassing that again happened. And hopefully others will go, this guy is a clown, and not bring him in, because it's just a waste of time. He's stealing your money. Overall, bodywork was good from Clarke. That was the feature of the fight, but not really too much more to say. Hopefully that cut's not too nasty and we can see him again soon, because I think one of the things, given he's a prospect with about half a dozen fights or so on his ledger, he needs to be more active. He needs to be getting out more often than he has been. These periods of inactivity, especially at this stage of his career, probably not great for him, especially considering he's over 30 years old and doesn't really seem to have any momentum right now. Fans aren't looking for him. Fans are not going, this guy's the next great thing in British boxing and heavyweight boxing. Compared to previous, like Joe Joyce, Anthony Joshua, he's sort of falling behind on all sorts of fronts. It's not to say that he can't sort of make up some ground, but he needs a bit of a push, and they need to be getting better opponents. Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. I'm out.